Okay, so this is day 3 of me looking up information about the Karen Read case and deciding I have some really strong opinions. A bunch of this shit does not add up. And I know I'm late to the party because some of you all have been following this for a couple of weeks. And so when I'm reading about some of this stuff and I'm questioning how this ever made it to trial, you guys are like, yeah, welcome to the party, sis. Better late than never. Anyway, okay, for the first thing I have today is why no one from the Albert house comes out. It's 6 a.m. 3 women are on the front lawn. They have discovered the body of John O'Keefe. And at this point, he's still alive. They are performing CPR. They have called 911. I would assume because he's still alive, that when the police and the ambulance come roaring down the street, they've got their sirens on. So if you weren't awake before, you sure the fuck are now. And by the way, if I'm one of these 3 women, I'm assuming they described Karen Read as screaming. So, okay, they're screaming, they're sirens. I would also think at some point, if this were me, if I were one of these women, I probably would have ran to the front door and been ringing the doorbell being like, wake up, come help us, right? I would want Brian Alpert to come out and help us, try and help us lift him, try and help us save him, call somebody, do something. It's your freaking house. But either Brian and Nicole Alpert are very sound sleepers, or they already knew what was going on their front lawn and they didn't want to be bothered with going out there because they knew they would be questioned. Now, when the police showed up, what's questioning the women on the scene, the police never go inside the house. Now, even though there were witnesses that said, I think it was even Mark McCabe, who said a couple of times that night when they were expecting John O'Keefe to show up at the party, he kept going to the window to look out to see if they were there. There were people that said they looked out the window and they saw Karen's SUV in the street. I'm a cop and I hear, I looked out the window. I would think, well, why don't I go in the house and look out the window and see it from their vantage point so I would fully understand what these people were seeing as they looked out, especially if they were seeing Karen's vehicle parked in certain places or under certain lights. If I were the police and I thought she'd run him over, I would want to see that vantage point. But for some reason, no one goes in and conducts any type of investigation in this house whatsoever. They never rope it off. They never stop anybody from destroying anything, removing anything, doing anything, cleaning anything, ever. Now, here's something that really sticks with me. Jen McCabe, when she was on the stand, she's a testy little bitch, by the way. Oh, would I love to be an attorney that just got in the room with her. But at one point, Alan Jackson kind of has her up against the ropes, and he's kind of basically insinuating that she's part of this big plot. And she tries to get emotional. She tries to get angry, but also sad. And she kind of says, of course, I wouldn't hurt John. He was my friend. And the response from the attorney is, but not family. And she's like, friends and family. I loved him. Which makes me wonder why, in the testimony that her husband gave, there had been a grouped text. So this is her husband, Mark McCabe. There had been a group text. And he says that it was him, Jen McCabe, Brian Alpert, and Nicole Alpert. They're all on this text chain together. What the records show is that text, what Mark McCabe texted those 3 other people was, quote, tell them the guy never went in the house. And Brian Alpert's response is, exactly. So Jen McCabe loves John O'Keefe. They are good friends. She is so sad that he's gone. But when her husband refers to him as that guy, knowing that he's supposedly one of Jen's very close friends, it doesn't match. Now, if you and I are on a text chat together and one of our friends or even an acquaintance had gone missing, had been hurt, had died, heaven forbid if it was on one of our front lawns, and we were trying to recount the evening's events, wouldn't our text chat be more like, oh my God, I know I was drunk, but I don't even remember him coming to the party. Do you? No, well, so-and-so left at midnight and I don't remember seeing Karen. I don't even remember John coming in. Do you remember John coming in? That's what the conversation would be like. It wouldn't be one guy saying, just tell them the guy never came in the house. Like, if that's not plotting together, and then have the other guy go, exactly. Like, this is such a fucking stinky cover up. I don't know how this ever has seen the inside of a courtroom. One of the women on the scene that morning, a woman named Carrie Roberts, who she was on the stand and everyone's saying she's the only caring and compassionate person when it comes to having any sort of honest affection toward John O'Keefe. But what happened was she had said she was the one that raced to him, helped uncover his head, lift his head up out of the snow, uncovered his face. And she testifies that as she uncovered his face, she saw that one eye looked swollen with like a big bump on it. There was blood from his nose and his mouth. So that's how she testified. And that is consistent with I think, having some sort of physical altercation and having damage done to your face. And one final thing about Knuckle Boy. So Colin Albert, who has the bruises on his knuckles. Now, he claimed it was because he had something in his hand, the road was icy, he fell down. If you fall down like this, I wouldn't just think your knuckles would be bruised up here. I would think this entire bottom part of your hand would be hurt because you didn't land on marshmallows. You probably landed on cement and maybe some microscopic little stones or something. There was dirt, there's something that you've landed on. There would be abrasions down here if you fell on your knuckles, okay? There was somebody, and I'm so pissed that I can't find the video now, but there was somebody who'd said they had done extensive research about apes, and apes who spend all of their time literally walking on their knuckles, when they fall down, they don't even use their knuckles to catch them. It is not a normal human movement to go like this to catch yourself when you're falling. And I would think not only would there be damage under here, but I would think that would do something to this. Like this is just not the way. You're not meant to fall on your hand like this. Your palm is bad enough, but at least you have padding. There's a reason you have padding here. Falling like this would not cause bruising up across the top, and it would certainly cause bruising down under here, maybe some damaged fingers, maybe a hurt wrist. None of that is the case. That kid is full of fucking shit. That's not even a good story. That is not even close to being a good story.